Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown Podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. Coming straight from the Berg, she is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend? How is your week?
Not too bad. Neither of our football teams knew how to win a game this weekend, so that was fun.
Yeah,
But
I've given up on football.
honestly, I don't even know what to expect from the Steelers every weekend. But most of the time, I don't expect anything good at this rate. So it's just like, you know what? It's hockey season. The PWHL's back on, so my teams are playing. So then maybe they'll give me some hope in my sports heart again. But we'll see.
As we say, the life of a diehard sports fan.
It's a blessing and a curse, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, for those of you who are listening for the first time, thank you very, very much for checking out an episode of the Ringside Rundown Podcast. It's a podcast about pro wrestling where Shay and I talk about what's happening in the world of WWE, AEW, and anything of the like. And today we have a pretty big show for you. So if this is your first show, welcome in. We have a pretty big show because we're going to be talking about AEW Full Gear, giving our thoughts on each of the matches that happened that night and giving our match ratings for each match, and also giving you our predictions for the upcoming Survivor Series PLE that is happening this Saturday. If you're listening to this podcast, it's probably Wednesday or later. So Survivor Series is happening later in the week. So we have a full breakdown of that show and what we think is going to go down. It's going to be a big show, not only tonight for us, but over the weekend it's going to be a big one. But let's start it off talking about Full Gear, which happened this past weekend. It was a pretty interesting pay-per-view. Before we break it down inch by inch, this was a weird pay-per-view. The way it felt, the pacing of it and everything like that really felt like just an extension of another Dynamite episode or Collision. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, it wasn't, like we always say, it wasn't terribly, horrifically, offensively bad, but wasn't also like overall the pay-per-view was fantastic. It had its bright spots, trust me. There were definitely some quality matches on there, but everything else just kind of felt like, all right, it's solid, but that doesn't make it like great. Like my poor boss, he didn't finish watching it by the time I had asked him about it yesterday, and he says, okay, well, without spoiling it, what would you say? And I'm like, it was good, but not great, but not terrible. It was just kind of average.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is too, it was definitely, I think, one of the bloodier pay-per-views in recent memory. That's for
Very
damn
much
sure. Blood everywhere. But I think the biggest issue, and clearly Tony Khan doesn't seem to give a fuck about it at this point, is those shows, no matter how many or matches are on the card, it drags on.
Mm-hmm.
Your main event did not start until after midnight. It's just like, dude, come on. Like, I get that you get not even really a pass because it was a Saturday, but after all that shit and all the blood and guts, literally, no pun intended, I guess, but just all the shit we had to go through, everybody was fucking tired, man. Like, you need to give these people a break, and it's just like, it just is very hard to pay attention for that long, especially even a very good pay-per-view. It's just like having to devote 3+ hours of your night to a show is already taxing enough. Once it gets into almost 1 a.m, that's even more taxing. When it's not a fantastic pay-per-view from top to bottom, that makes it pretty much impossible to try and pay attention to. Like I said, overall, it was good. It was just kind of in the middle for me. There were definitely some matches where I said, yeah, those definitely were head and shoulders above the rest, but overall, it was just kind of like, okay, it was another one.
Well, this is what we're here for. We're here to break it all down for you guys and lend our expertise as wrestling fans and give you guys our perspective of what we thought of the show. I ended up catching the show a day late, so I was I didn't have the bad having to stay up late at night, watching it and being tired and whatnot. I think that would have thrown me off even more than so watching it the next day and kind of just being like, okay, well, that's what it was.
Yeah, especially it was, I don't know. It's just like, oh, I'm so tired. And
uh,
it's not like I'm not a night person. I am. It's just like I said, when you go through 3+ hours of watching the same thing, it's kind of like, okay, I'd like to do something else for at least a little bit, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just the curse of AEW pay-per-views, I guess.
Yeah, it is. And this is how it started off. We started off, they did the same thing they did last month in the last pay per view, where the last match of the Tailgate Brawl, which is the pre show, carried on over into the main card. And
Yeah.
they started the pay per view off pyro and everything with the match happening inside of the ring, which was El Sky Team from CMLL putting up their trios championships on the line against Don Callis family members Hechicero, Kazuchika Okada, and Takeshita. And again, they did the same thing they did last pay per view, where they had the pre show bleed on over to the main card. I don't know. What do you think about this strategy now? Do you think it's something that they're going to continue to do, or what?
I mean, I really hope not, because it was kind of interesting the first time, but when I saw it happen again, I'm like, seriously, are we really gonna do this
Mm-hmm.
again? But I guess at least for the storyline in the match with Takeshita and Okada not showing up until the actual pay-per-view, because I don't work pre-shows, I only work pay-per-view, like, main card, which is like, okay, I get it in that facet, but if you wouldn't have done it the first time, it would have been a little more, like, impactful and not just making my eyes roll when it happens.
Yeah,
So I can see why they did it, but I just don't know why they had to do it 2 pay-per-views in a row. But
yeah.
it's just AEW, I guess. They like to beat your head into the ground with some things, and I really hope they don't do that again next pay-per-view, but I also won't be surprised if they do.
They definitely do. The story here, for me, is when are we going to see Takeshita and Okada come to blows? The people want to see it. It's a money match. Don Callis can continue to play ignorant to the issues between Okada and Takeshita because at this point, it's messing with the intelligence of the audience, I think.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to do it during the Continental Classic, because if
Yeah,
they don't capitalize on that opportunity at that point, it's almost just like, what the fuck are we doing here? But the problem is also kind of makes the Continental Classic a little predictable at that point. So I don't really know, but they have to do it during then, because
yeah.
if they don't, it's like, when else is going to be the, like, opportune time to do it? You had 5 opportune times to do it and you just have refused. So hopefully this is it.
Yeah. The conclusion of the match came with Mystico locking in La Mystica on Hechicero for the quick tap out again. I think it's time we hurry the train up of Okada and Takeshita to its breaking point, but that's just me. I think they should hurry up and do it. And if the Continental Classic is the avenue to do it, I think they should. Both men are in opposite blocks of the Continental Classic, which starts on Wednesday for the Thanksgiving Eve edition of uh AEW Dynamite. So and the field looks pretty cool in terms of the Continental
Yeah.
Classic. The competitors in the Continental Classic. I'm very interested in seeing how this is gonna go. But this is the crazy thing. They already unified the belt. So what is the prize really?
Yeah.
Okada's not even technically the Continental Champion anymore because there is no Continental Champion. It's presented in the unified title. So
Yeah.
how are they gonna
And
work that?
it also kind of just wastes a spot, because you already know he's going to be in it and you already know he's going to be right at the end. So it's, I don't know. I don't like the format of it, but I mean, they kind of backed themselves into a wall at that point, because you shouldn't have had that many titles to begin with. You panicked,
Hmm.
and now you have to kind of backtrack everything you've done for the last few years. But that doesn't mean the Continental Classic still can't be good. It will be. I mean, hell, just looking at the field, it's like, this is going to be entertaining, and then it's always a highlight of the year for AEW is in the Continental Classic. It's just, don't do something stupid and fuck it up,
Yeah,
please.
I don't know. It's kind of because going back to like how we feel about this show. Full Gear, they kind of, a lot of the matches, and again, we'll break it down, but they pulled a lot of fast ones. It felt like
Yeah.
for like, it felt like they were swerving people for swerve's sake, no pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and we'll we'll talk about why later, but yeah, it was just like there were like you said there were some surprises where it wasn't shock in a good way. It was a shock like, did you really have to do that? Like it didn't make any sense. I mean, there were a couple glaring ones where it's like, was you better really sell me on this down the line because right now it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, let's get into it. The main card kicked off with Pac from the Death Riders taking on Darby Allin. This was a solid, interesting opener to the show. Darby broke out some of his wrestling skills early on, to which the commentary noted that it was to show Darby wasn't a one-trick pony. I'm quite enjoying Pac's metamorphosis into the modern day Dynamite Kid, as the whole
Yeah.
thing is just, it just works for him. He looks completely different. It's a completely different presentation. It feels like he's much more of a wrestler rather than just an act to say, look, he can do some cool stuff off the top rope.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like too, and it's sad because I feel like a lot of people aren't going to really remember that match because there wasn't really anything like sensational with it, but
Right.
it didn't really have to be. I feel like wasn't there, I feel like I was also very confused because I thought this was the no holds barred match until I forgot Moxley and Kyle had a match later in the night. So I was a little confused, but then it was interesting to see how they turned that story into Pac's like, now I want to beat you in a full-on wrestling match one-on-one, like
Right.
nobody involved, whatever. And then he takes the chicken shit way out of doing it.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about it now, though, is, I mean, they kind of needed a win, the Death Riders as a whole, but I think it also kind of adds to, I feel like, the growing speculation and almost the anticipation of Moxley's, like, exile from the Death Riders, because I feel like we know it's coming. It's just a matter of when. I feel like this kind of adds fuel to the fire because Pac was able to do something that Moxley couldn't. He beat Darby. I mean, granted, in chicken shit, like, heel way, but he still did it.
Yeah.
Moxley couldn't do that. So, that already added some fuel to the fire, and there was more fuel added to the fire later on. But yeah, it was a solid opener. I can't complain about it. Darby is still proving why he needs to be in the main event, like, title picture. And with the way things shook down at the end of the night, I don't see why he wouldn't be one of the first challengers, but that obviously remains to be seen. But yeah, it was a pretty, like I said, solid start to the night. Couldn't really complain.
Yeah, as I'm enjoying a solid wrestling contest, the match goes back into an old crutch of what kind of fucked up shit can we do to Darby Allin? This go around, it was Pac ripping at the bandages that covered second-degree burn blisters all across Darby's body. Then it was launching Darby full force from post to the outside. There was an excellent moment of drama where Pac had the brutalizer locked in and Darby was in a real struggle to get to the bottom rope. Wheeler Yuta makes an appearance, which makes me audibly laugh because, of course, this is meant to be a straight-up wrestling contest, but now we have shenanigans. Pac grabs the bat while the referee is distracted. With Yuta, Pac clocks Darby in the face and gets the 3 count. I would have much rather had a clean, no shenanigans finish to the match, but the bit of wrestling we got was decent enough. I gave it 3 3/4 out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it 3.5. So we're still kind of we're in the same range like we always are. But yeah, it was solid. I did the same thing when you just showed up. I'm like, oh, fucking course, you little asshole, you're gonna be here, because why wouldn't you be? But that's just another crutch at this point for them. But yeah, I feel like I do agree with you on the fact that it should have been, I think it would have been a little more impactful if Pac just beat him outright, because then you can add that into the storyline of, yeah, well, I beat him clean. I didn't need to do any chicken shit, anything to do it. So maybe that was a slight little oversight on their part because, yeah, I mean, you still beat him, but you didn't really beat him. So I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe we were looking at it a different way, but I don't see how else you could look at it. But
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, 3.5 flames for me.
Nice, nice. All right, following that match, we had a four-way tag team title, or tag team match rather, in the women's division. This involves women that are involved in the tag team title tournament picture, and the winner of this match, of this four-way tag match, gets to pick the stipulation for their upcoming match in the semifinals. This included Marina Shafir and Megan Bain versus Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale versus Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus Sky Blue and Julia Hart. This match was a match that had a lot going on, but nothing really noteworthy. It took a minute for the match to find good pacing, but it did get there in the end. While a bulk of the action and the ladies were on the outside, back in the ring, Harley and Tony Storm had a back and forth pin battle, which ended with Tony locking Harley in a small package for the win. An okay follow up, but nothing really. If for that amount of people in the ring, there certainly wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah, I feel like it was because we all knew where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, at least for me, when you knew that Tony and Mina were winning, so it wasn't really much of a dramatic style of, oh my god, which one of them's gonna win. So once you kind of realized that you kind of knew what was gonna happen, I just like sat back and enjoyed it. It was fun. I mean, again, nothing like noteworthy or oh my god, if I missed it, I would have been mad. But everybody got their time to shine. I'm just glad they got the women on the card,
Yeah.
granted. But I feel like I saw on Twitter somewhere, and I do agree with that. I remember, I wish I would have saved it, but they were pretty much saying, they're like, yeah, but you could have also had this be the tournament finals too. You could have had it on an actual pay-per-view, but
Yeah, you would think, right?
you would think, but clearly that's not going to happen. But I also find it rather odd that it's like you put all four teams in the semifinals in the same match. So yeah, of course it was going to be Tony and Mina, because you guarantee there's going to be some type of death match, something or other between those two and Bane and Shafir. But then it's just like, okay, well, what about the other two teams? It's just like, okay, just go back to the bracket like nothing happened, I guess. So I don't know. It just seems like a very weird kind of thing for Tony to do. But again, I'm also not going to complain that a lot of women got on the card, and everyone got their time to shine. There's some good moments here and there. I gave this one also 3.5 flames.
All right.
Again, nothing too bad, nothing too terrible, but
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the final stretch. Was what made the match okay for me. Other than that, there wasn't much really to note. But that final stretch between Tony and Harley, and shout out to Harley Cameron, who's really improving in the ring. Every time she goes out there, she's proving to be someone that went from relatively nothing, like, oh my god, she's with that QTV segment people, and now she's a viable part of the card, that someone you could depend on to give you a good match. So really good thing for Harley Cameron. But again, they're trying to make something out of Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, which I don't blame them, because Tony Storm is a main event player, and even if she doesn't have the AEW Women's World Title, she deserves to be kind of in the conversation. So this kind of puts her in the conversation, I feel like, and it only helps Mina Shirakawa, who comes along for the ride.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then I'm sure we could have the debate of, do they actually need to win the tag titles, which, I mean, I personally don't think so, because I think those two as a team and separate are entertaining and funny enough, especially Tony, that it's like, you don't really need to put a title on them. So I'm still, from what I've seen, I'm still going to go with Sisters of Sin, Tony and me in a final. And you know what? I'm still sticking with it. I'm still going with the Sisters of Sin. I'm hoping they pull through for me, because I've been saying they should win these titles from the beginning, and I'm hoping that's going to be the case. But yeah, nothing's changed my mind just yet.
All right. Well, following that was a match for the AEW men's tag team titles between champions Brodito and challengers FTR. This was a great tag team bout that was pretty much back and forth till the very end. And to me, what a star-making performance by Bandito, who proved to be super tough in taking down FTR. FTR got rid of Brody King by hitting him with the spike pile driver on the apron, thus eliminating Brody from being a factor. In the ring, Bandito did everything he could to fight off FTR in the end after getting hit with the Shatter Machine. Bandito doesn't kick out, and FTR are your new AEW Tag Team Champions. Again, a solid performance from both teams. This was a good tag team match. Really what you would, honestly, the best way I could put it is what you would expect from a match that features FTR, which seems like a tag team that can work
Yeah.
with any tag team.
Yeah, and honestly, Broditos were no slouch either, so because obviously their defenses have been pretty good, and
Right.
so we expected a good match from these two teams, and we definitely did. Like, we were not disappointed. It was a great match. Again, kind of like the women's, everybody got their time to shine. Um, FTR played the part of like the smart veteran team. You take out the big guy because that was going to be your biggest issue, was going to be Brody. So the main plan is to take out Brody and then just beat the ever living shit out of Bandito the whole time, because he took some punishment in this one. He
Yeah, he
was
did.
getting the crap kicked out of him for most of it, but yeah, you said it. Star-making performance from Bandito, showed what he can do, and I don't know about you, but when I was watching that match, because remember, guys, this was part of the tiebreaker for us for the predictions, because you had predicted Stokely was going to help FTR win the titles. So I'm sitting there towards the end of it, just still watching Stokely dead on the floor. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you fucking get up. If you fucking get up, I swear to God, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. And he never got up. And Mom started laughing, no offense. She started giggling. She's like, that helped you, didn't it? I'm like, yes, it did. That pretty much guaranteed I kept the belt. So
Damn it,
live to
Stokely.
see the predictions for another day. So the
Damn
title
it,
is
Stokely.
the one time he needed a pull through for you, he blew it.
Yeah, he can't come through for a guy, I tell you. Well, I ended up giving this match 3 3/4 out of 5. What about you?
I also gave it 3 3/4 flames. Like I said, that was probably the best match up until that point,
There you
easily.
go. There you go. And next up, we had the Casino Gauntlet match, which is basically a random gauntlet match. You don't know how many people are going to be in it, and you don't know when they're going to be in it. This did a lot of teasing in the match between the Hurt Syndicate and Jet Speed and other tag partners in this every man for himself, one fall to a finish contest. They did a lot of, okay, we're teammates, but this is every man for himself, so we're gonna have to come to blows. They didn't really do a lot with the Hurt Syndicate like I wanted, but Jet Speed had some pretty good back and forths that I really enjoyed. Kevin Knight comes off the top with the UFO splash on Wheeler Yuta, but doesn't see Ricochet, who hits Kevin Knight with the Spirit Gun and gets the victory and is your inaugural AEW National Champion. Our worst nightmare has come true. Ricochet has a title.
Yeah.
I gave this 3.5 out of 5. What about you?
I gave this one 3 1/4. I would have given it 3 1/2, but you might as well have just renamed it the Casino Tag Team Gauntlet match, because that's pretty much all this was. It was just a bunch of factions wrestling as singles competitors for a title, and I didn't like the fact that there was really no surprises. Like, no surprises at all. This is the kind of match where you can set up at least a couple surprises here and there, and the fact that there were literally none was just very underwhelming, and I think that's where it lost 1/4 of a flame for me, because I'm just like, give me something else. Like, holy fuck, it was just not, I don't want to say predictable, because it's not the word. It was just more or less like, okay, well, that makes sense, he's in there. It makes sense, he's in there. And it was just like, okay, sure, but this one could have definitely just been, I think, like, this one and maybe one other match was the designated this could have been on a Dynamite or a Collision match. Right. And then Ricochet winning, it was just kind of like, I mean, I guess, like, good for him, but I mean, now he's going to be even more insufferable than he already is, so I guess mission accomplished there. But it was just like, I mean, okay, like, what was really even the point of this whole title in general? But
another title. They just unified the Continental Classic and whatever other title they had, the International, only to make another title.
Yeah, and for your inaugural champion to be, I mean, it's not a knock on Ricochet, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, it's not really like oh wow, he's the first champion, that's cool. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, like, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
It doesn't carry the same weight almost.
No, it literally feels like, at least in the context of him winning, it just kind of seems like just another plot point for the feud between the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand, and that was
Mm.
pretty much all it was for. So, yeah, very, very underwhelming to say the least. At least for me.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree. Unfortunately, I didn't. I would have much rather have seen this on a Dynamite or a Collision. It probably would have made big numbers in the ratings as a main event, not stuck in the middle of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Unfortunately, one of the should have been on off a pay-per-view card kind of match,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah. Next up, we had John Moxley in a one-on-one contest against Kyle O'Reilly in a no holds barred match. And oh boy, despite the
Ugh.
grotesque amount of blood spilled, to me this was an excellent contest if you're a fan of grappling and submission wrestling. It lived up to the billing of no holds barred and gave us some really fun wrestling. A chain was introduced by O'Reilly and he uses it for extra torque on an ankle lock, and Moxley shockingly taps out.
Again.
Yeah, again he taps out to Kyle O'Reilly. After the match, Moxley attacks O'Reilly, but is run off by members of the conglomeration. I gave this one 3 3/4 out of 5. I actually enjoyed it despite the amount of blood because I felt like it was an actual struggle. It felt like an actual chess match between two grapplers in there just trying to use their best MMA skills to put the other one away. And if this doesn't give you the sense that Kyle O'Reilly should be a main event player, then why have him tap out the former world champion twice?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if the answers to further the whole thing with the Death Riders and the fact that Moxley's showing weakness, okay, well that's cool, but you could also at the same time build Kyle up at the exact same time. Like, those two things don't have to be exclusive to each other. So I would like to see it because can definitely do it. Clearly, he's up to the challenge. I also gave it 3 3/4 flames. I do feel though, like, besides the chain, all I can vaguely remember, like, it being a hardcore match was because of the fork,
Yeah,
the goddamn fork,
the fork.
which every time Moxley pulls that out, I'm just like, oh god, for fuck's sake, please, not again. But that's his weapon of choice, which is fine. But yeah, it was a bloody technical match, which is such a weird thing to say, but it was true. It was a very good match with some it's a lot of blood, let's not say some, a lot of blood mixed in. And yeah, this is now if you really think about it, this is the third time, maybe fourth time that Moxley's given up in some way, shape, or form. So something's got to give. And I was kind of wondering if they were going to do something after he tapped again, because then everybody in the Death Rider started coming out, and I'm like, oh shit, this is finally it.
Yeah.
Like, Marine or Claudio's going to dump him on his ass. And it just never happens. I was a little disappointed, but it's just kind of a matter of when it's going to happen, not if it's going to happen. But yeah, definitely a great match. Very, very bloody. It was. You can only take so much, and
It's just
if only,
it's the fork. The fork is because it's so simple yet
yeah, like anyone could
so
do it.
yeah, exactly. It's so simple yet so just vile. Because you have to,
Yeah.
especially as a viewer, you have to sit there and watch somebody get stabbed with this fork, and you can't come up lame with the fork. You
Oh
can't
no.
you can't mask it and do like a wrestling thing. If you're gonna use the fork, you got to use the fork.
Yeah.
So uh, uh just
Ugh.
I could have done without the blood. I thought the really cool part about this match was that they were both trying to use their expertise in other forms of martial arts to get the win. I thought that could have carried the match in itself. It didn't really need the blood factor, but again, it's a Moxley match, so you're just gonna have to take what you can get.
Yeah, and if only we knew that that was going to be the precursor to blood. We thought that was blood. We just
Yeah.
had to sit and wait because good God, was there going to be more to come?
That's
And that
funny.
was,
That's funny because I actually have that in my notes for the next match, which
of
was
course.
Kyle Fletcher defending the TNT Championship against challenger Mark Briscoe. And the first line of my notes says, if you thought they spilled a grotesque amount of blood in the last match, this
Yeah.
one amped it up big time as there was no disqualifications in this match. Much of this match was a back and forth to see how one competitor could top the other. They had tacks, ladders, tables, and barbed wire were all used in this match. It was no shortage of weaponry throughout the match to use at their disposal. Briscoe powerbombs Fletcher off the top rope into a barbed wire table, then follows up with a J driller onto the championship title belt to win the match and become the new TNT champion. I am certainly surprised by the outcome, but not upset if it means moving Kyle Fletcher up in some sort of way to the main event capacity. This was one of the ones that I said earlier they kind of tried to swerve you on, where you wouldn't think they would take the belt off of Kyle Fletcher kind of so soon, and he was just kind of
Yeah.
someone that you can use the TNT Championship as a workhorse title, and he could fit the picture of a workhorse. But for some reason, they wanted to go in different direction, and they decided to go with Mark Briscoe. I'm not mad. I'm a fan of Mark Briscoe. I just think it's very odd that they took the title off of Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, because we even said in the predictions episode, we're like, there's no way they're taking the belt off him that soon. And they must have heard it and said, oh, you want to bet? Like, I think it was our fault. We may have jinxed it.
Sorry,
But
Kyle.
yeah, sorry, Kyle. We didn't want you to lose. Trust me. That was another one where it was like, did that surprise actually need to happen? I mean, like, again, good for Briscoe. I
Mhm.
mean, good for him to finally hold a title, but it's also just like, did we have to? Like, I don't know. But I mean, obviously they thought it was clearly, but I don't know if I agree, but yeah, I just feel like, especially in like the later half of the show, they had a lot of just hardcore-esque matches. I
Yeah.
mean, especially since you had a no holds barred right before it, and then you had this one, and then you had a steel cage in the main event. So it's just like, okay, I get that you guys are like the hardcore kind of promotion, but it's also just like, god damn, like we didn't need all of that because it just kept going and kept going, and it was
It's kind of it's kind of to use
a
the
lot.
holiday. To use the holiday, it's kind of when you have like those Thanksgiving leftovers and you just kind of
Yeah.
mash it all together on the plate the next day.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what it felt like. Like you said, the constant barrage of hardcore matches, no disqualifications,
Blood.
blood, just blood, blood, blood. I'm telling you, there was a lot of blood on this show. It
This one
was,
wasn't for the faint of heart. If you haven't seen it yet and you get very queasy easily, probably don't watch it. I'll
yeah,
just be honest.
yeah.
It was just I can handle it to a degree, but even after a while I'm just like, oh my god, do we really have to keep doing this? This just seems like overkill at this point. It was just ugh.
Yeah,
Just too much.
there's a great I was doom scrolling on TikTok and I came across someone who was in the audience and it was their first ever AEW show. And it
Oh
was
no.
just them just it was just like a whole minute and a half of them going, "Oh no, no, fuck no, no, fuck no." And like the whole time just
Ugh.
like they were just so grossed out. Luckily they said they had a good time, but it was
Well,
just
that's good.
yeah, they said they had a good time, but it was a minute and a half of just them going, "No, no, please, no more."
We
It
were
was,
also doing the same thing, don't worry. We were just like, oh god, please just enough already. Like
yeah,
like I said, I don't mind the hardcore matches. I don't mind the maybe not so much the death matches, but like the no DQs, the street fights, whatever. It's like I enjoy them, but there comes a point where it's like AEW's bad habit is falling on those crutches and that broken ankle of theirs,
yeah.
and boy, their crutch seems to be blood. And again, maybe it's just like a WWE thing where they're like, oh well, WWE's not going to show blood, so screw them. We're gonna be the cool brand. We're gonna be like the Attitude Area where there's blood everywhere, and it's like, okay, well that works for a little bit, but Jesus, you need to learn to dial it back just a little bit, just a
for
little bit.
for sure. I agree definitely. It was a little too much, and luckily they were in a place. It wasn't like the last pay-per-view where we were coming to expect it and we never got it. This one they were like,
Yeah.
we'll make up for it. Don't worry, we're gonna make up for it, and that they
Yeah,
did.
we were like, please, please don't do that again.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us.
All right, so next up we had a match where the winner of the match will receive $1 million in a cash prize. I don't know if the money matches are a real thing or they're just a gimmick, but this one
Yeah.
was the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Kenny Omega teaming up to take on the Young Bucks and the Don Callis family's Josh Alexander. This one for me felt a lot like a main event to a Dynamite or a Collision. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad at all. It just felt like it didn't line up with the rest of the card. Kind of like what you were saying. Maybe this what it was. It was. It was all the hardcore action. This one kind of stuck out like a sore thumb on the card. Omega looked like he might have tweaked his ankle or knee early on in the match and was never really able to recover, but he was able to neutralize Alexander on the outside, hitting him with a one-winged angel on the floor to make sure he was no longer a factor in the match. Back in the ring, there was a backslide attempt from Jack Perry on Matthew Jackson, but it was countered into a BTE trigger and the 3 count for the win. So the Bucks and Josh Alexander get this $1 million prize. But the big thing is that Don Callis has been wanting the Young Bucks in the Don Callis family for quite some time right now. And after the match, members of the Don Callis family beat down Kenny Omega. The Young Bucks have a moment of heart, run down to the ring and cleared it of the Don Callis family. The Bucks reconcile with Jurassic Express, and then Kenny Omega to the roar of the crowd. All 5 men walk up the ramp together in unity. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 as well, because I feel like you hit the nail right on the head. It just felt like a match where I'm like, okay, this is really just nothing that's like keeping my attention, which is never good for a wrestling match. If I can't pay attention, that doesn't really help you. But yeah, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means, but it also just wasn't jumping out at me either. Yeah, good for the Bucks and Alexander to finally, win something, so that helps. I wonder if maybe they'll factor this into like the Don Callis family thing where Alexander may be in like the good graces of Don because he won him money, and you're so distracted by Takeshita and Okada fighting. The Callis is like, all right, you know what? You're not giving me any troubles. You're winning me money, so you're like the number one guy. Should he be? Who knows? But he's not a bad wrestler by any means. He's pretty good in the ring. But we always say that it's never really a good thing when whatever happens after the match overshadows the actual match itself.
Right.
And this definitely was one of those cases because I feel like everyone just cared more about the fact that the Elite got back together and not so much how they got there. So, I mean, good for them. It definitely was a big moment in the pay-per-view, but it was also just like, okay, well, who fucking cares about the match? The Elite are back together, so that pretty much tells you how fantastic the match was. But yeah, it was all right. It just should have, once again, should have been on Dynamite, but what else is new with an AEW pay-per-view? But
I would have put this on earlier in the card, maybe first or second. I would
yeah,
have had this on early in the card, especially
yeah,
if we
not
were
that deep.
especially if we were gonna do that feel good moment, because you can get the people off their feet with all the what the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega do in the ring. That'll get people off
Yeah.
their feet and that'll get people hot. So you want people hot in the beginning of your show. So I would have put this on earlier in the show, maybe first or second. And it probably would have been better received because you would have felt like, okay, if this is what we're giving, this is what they're giving us, later on in the night is going to get better, But it just kind of felt like this match in particular stuck out like a sore thumb because of the placement of where it was in the card.
Yeah, I was very shocked when I saw that it was coming on next because I'm like, why is this on so late? Because it doesn't need to be. Like, and if it really was only because of the Elite getting back together, then I feel like that's a very stupid reasoning for putting it that late. But that's why apparently we don't get paid the big bucks. But I do agree. I definitely would have put it first or second just to like get the crowd going instead of. I'm not gonna say putting the crowd to sleep because the whole elite thing was great, but it's just like this didn't need to be that late into the pay-per-view because you're already struggling to keep me awake anyway. But it's a thing. It's a thing that happened.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. This one was for the AEW Women's Championship, where Chris Statlander defended the title against 14 belts, 13. I don't know. She's got a million belts.
25.
Mercedes Moné and her infinite amount of belts. This one, the main story for this was the severely damaged arm of Chris Statlander. No matter what Monet did to the arm, though, Statlander just kept coming at Monet and not giving up, which was really a big part of the match. The one thing I did note was the crowd was eerily quiet throughout this match. The conclusion
Yeah.
came with a back and forth of momentum for a pile driver spot, ending with Statlander hit Saturday Night Fever for the win and retaining the AEW Women's Championship. This one was okay. I was hoping for a little bit better. That's kind of why my score is a little low. I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
I gave it 3 3/4. It was probably one of my more favorite matches of the night. Yeah, the crowd definitely didn't help things, but again, this is also maybe that byproduct of don't put the pay-per-view so fucking late in the night, but whatever. It's just, well, and I also think like maybe the match itself beforehand didn't do it any favors either, but I feel like they were both trying to get the crowd into it, so they were doing what they could. And would I say that this is probably their best match out of the three? I don't think so, but it was still great. Like, I'm not going to say that, oh, this is a complete letdown and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it was still really good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, one of my favorite matches of the night. Thank God. Thank God they didn't fall for the trap. They kept Stat with that belt as she should. This is like and I honestly love the promo she had afterwards where she's like, when I won this, everybody was like, oh, well, yeah, but you didn't really win it one-on-one. So you have to like beat Tony one-on-one to do it. Well, I
Right.
did that. Then it was, oh, well, it's Mercedes. So you're really not going to have a chance. You haven't beaten her yet. And so she's like, fine, if I'm going to have to spend this entire title reign proving myself to everybody, then that's what it's going to be. And don't say I didn't warn you. And that's exactly what this was. You're still going to have these detractors for whatever fucking reason, but Stat is a legit champ. I don't know what more she could do, but for some people, they're never pleased. But for the fact of beating not only Toni Storm in her prime, but also Mercedes Moné single-handedly, she didn't need any help, nothing. That should pretty much tell you she deserves to be where she is.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad they didn't fall for the trap of giving Mercedes the title, because I still think the storyline for her is the redemption story of I can't win the big one. But I don't think she's going to win the big one until she loses pretty much a couple, if all, of these like little secondary titles. Because let's be honest, that's what these are. So I feel like there's going to be a better story there for her to like hit rock bottom and build her way back up to winning the actual title. Is Stat going to be the champion by then? That remains to be seen. Depends on how long they're going to drag this out. But the right woman won. Thankfully, I didn't have to crash out in the middle of my living room at almost midnight. So thank God for that. But yeah, 3 flames, and Stat continues to show why it's always Saturday night.
Yeah,
Thank God.
I think what it is too, and you got to give credit to AEW on this, is the depth of the women's division.
Oh yes.
Because this is easily one of those situations where she's beaten Monet now. She can move on to anybody. She can move on to Megan Bain. She can move on to Willow Nightingale. You can move on to Harley Cameron. You can build up anybody, really. Or even
Tekla again.
Tekla, or if they build up Marina Shafir.
And they might.
And you know what'd be cool? Marina Shafir as AEW Women's Champion would give me kind of Shayna Baszler vibes when she was champion in NXT.
Oh yes.
And they're cut from the same cloth. So,
absolutely.
And Marina Shafir, not to get off track, but her stock is just rising and rising and rising. So that's the great thing about AEW right now, is that their women's division is so full of depth that they have infinite avenues they can go to make Chris Statlander's reign very interesting. And like you said, and I'm glad you said it, they didn't fall into that trap of Mercedes has all the belts, so let's give her another belt.
Yeah, because I would have screamed. I would have, it would have been bad. But no, I completely agree with you on Marina Shafir because I feel like when she joined the Death Riders, she didn't really have much going for her.
Right.
And I feel like even when she did, they're just like, okay, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but is it really going to be like worth our time? Now it's gotten to the point where people are like, yeah, she needs to lead the Death Riders. That shows you how much of a resurgence she's had and well deserved. She's
Mm-hmm.
definitely been putting in the work. And I personally would like to see her lead instead of Claudio. I think a lot of people are hoping it's Claudio, but I'm like, I honestly think it'd be really interesting to see Marina lead all of them. That would be a very interesting little wrinkle in things. So, yeah, I completely agree. You could really put at least 5 or 6 women's names on that list and go, yeah, they could definitely like wrestle Stat next for the title, no problem. And
Yeah.
that's why it's hard to argue against AEW being one of the best, if not the best, women's division in wrestling, or at least depth wise. So, yeah, I completely agree, but I'm just glad they didn't fall for that trap because the crash out I would have had would have been of epic proportions. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel glad we didn't have that happen, and that takes us into the main event of the evening. It was a steel cage match for the AEW World Championship where Hangman Page defended the title against the Ops Samoa Joe, and the first thing I know was, oh great, more blood.
Yeah, like, good God. I don't know if it was like they did it on purpose or maybe the the blade got a little too much of the forehead, but holy fuck, I'm just like, are we really gonna do this
Yeah,
again?
it was a
At,
pretty nasty gash on
at that
Samoa
rate, I'm
Joe.
like, you know what? I'm so tired it doesn't even matter anymore. I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Let's just keep letting everybody bleed. Why not?
Well, that's all I could really focus on was the amount of blood loss coming
Yeah.
from Samoa Joe. Suddenly, Shibata from the Ops comes running down, trying to get involved in the match. He gets ran off by Eddie Kingston, and then comes Powerhouse Hobbs, who breaks his way into into the cage with the AEW Championship. Hobbs gets ran off by Hook, who gets in the cage looking to wake up a down referee. Hook grabs the title belt that was left in the ring and then whacks Hangman Page, knocking him completely out. Hook takes off his jacket to reveal an Ops t-shirt. Samoa Joe comes to and hits Hangman with a nasty muscle buster on top of the AEW Championship and gets the victory to become the new AEW World Champion. A match that I had high hopes for just gets overshadowed by blood loss and an unseemingly no reason to have it swerve by having Samoa Joe become the new AEW World Champion. I don't understand at all why you undercut the reign of Hangman Page that was going just fine.
Literally, and when that whole thing happened, Mom and I both just sat there and were like, this can't be it. Like, this can't be how it ends. And I mean, granted, what happens after the match, I'm not going to say made up for things, but I was definitely happy about it. But I was also just like, this didn't need to happen just for somebody like Swerve to come back. Like, you could have found another way to do it, but yeah, I really didn't like the fact that, because again, we literally said on the predictions episode, there's no way they're gonna have Hangman. We jinxed it. This was our
Yeah.
fault. Unfortunately, this was really our bad. Sorry, guys, because we literally said there's no way they're gonna take the title off him that soon. There's no reason for him to, and I just don't. I don't get it. It doesn't really make any sense because if the plan was for Hook to always turn his back on everybody, if the plan was always for Swerve to come back, you could have done that and not had Hangman lose the title. Like, it's just that ass backwards booking AEW does sometimes, where it's like you were overthinking it so much and you didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
And you did, and now my head hurts because I don't get what the whole point of this was.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I ended up giving the match 3.5 flames out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 because I didn't really remember much of it other than just the blood.
Blood. Yeah,
Like you said, just the blood. That's the
blood.
one thing we can do to describe this match, just blood.
Yeah, after the match, members of the Ops Dojo, which I didn't know was a thing, comes down
I
to
guess.
celebrate with the new champ. Lights go out, and when they come to, we see Prince Nana standing at the top of the ramp. Swerve Strickland makes his return with a slow, methodical walk to the ring. Joe seems to think Swerve wants a piece of Hangman given their history, but Swerve takes a shot at one of the Ops Dojo members. Swerve cleans house with a little help from Hangman, and the show closes out with Hangman and Swerve staring down the Ops from the ring. Very interesting considered the bad blood that was once between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page for them to kind of coexist with each other and work together. This is gonna be the main story going forward, I would assume, where it's just can they get along given their bad history, and it's bad history, complete with arson, breaking and entering, syringes, cinder blocks, you name it. It's all there for you in this history of Hangman versus Swerve. And the fact that they're going to be seemingly work together, it kind of makes it for an okay story. But again, I don't think that story was necessary to undercut the reign of Hangman Page just yet.
No,
he could have done
not at
so
all.
much more with the title. I feel like it's the same thing with his first title reign. They kind of took the title off of him early then. And it's just kind of like, he's your guy. He's your poster child. You know, he's the guy that, you know, he's your Sting, let's just say. You know, he's your Sting. He's your Cody Rhodes. He's your quarterback. Why keep undercutting him? I don't get it.
Because we have to make things interesting, I guess. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have Swerve coming back on the radar. So when the lights went out, I'm not gonna lie, Mom and I were kind of hoping it was Killer Cross and Scarlet. But then when the house burning came up on the stage, I caught on a little quicker than she did. But it was so fucking funny because we were just like sitting there leaning like towards the TV, and I kept reminding her, I'm like, if it's him, you can't scream. It's 12:30 at night, you can't scream. My neighbors are gonna fucking kill us. You cannot scream. And then I saw like the stage, and I'm like, you still can't scream. It's not him, but I know who it is. Just don't fucking scream. So so I'm excited that Swerve's back. I love Swerve, so I'm excited. Not sure how I feel about the new song though. I like the old one, but maybe it'll grow on me. But he also looks fucking jacked.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Like,
speaking of growing, it
Jesus.
looked like Swerve Strickland ate the old Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, and good for him I mean, obviously he had enough time to train and lift weights and eat protein powder for dinner, I guess. I mean, good for him,
Christ.
but damn.
He is yoked.
Yeah, I'm like, can I even get not all of that? Because what was it? I heard I don't know if you heard, like, he had like an interview and he was saying how excruciating it is to keep that muscle on. Like, he said he has to like order salmon and rice from Applebee's at 12:30 in the morning, and I don't even have the energy to pick it up and eat it with a fork, so I just have to like eat it with my hands. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
See, do we all want to lose weight? Yes. Do we all want to get muscle? Yes, but maybe not that much.
Yeah,
just
not
enough
at
where
that
it's like you can
level.
see it. Yeah, that's one of those where I'm like, nah, I'll just keep working out in the gym. Maybe maybe dabble with like protein powder or something, but not to the point of I have to eat salmon at 12:30 in the morning, because that's a little ungodly.
Yeah, that's nuts. But he looks incredible shape. So I will say I am interested in seeing how this is going to work out between Swerve and Hangman. How are they going to get along? What's Swerve's MO? What does he have his eyes on? You know, what's his plan of action coming back to AEW? So there is something to be interested in, but I got to say this was a very mid AEW pay-per-view. None of the action was specifically bad, but a lot of it was just felt like a runoff episode of Dynamite or Collision, which seems to be plaguing theme of AEW as of late. Many titles changing hands just felt like throwaway moments rather than big ones. All in all, just an okay pay-per-view. I gave it the final grade of 3.5 flames out of 5.
Yeah, I also gave it 3.5, and we have to ask the age-old question that I feel like this would kind of become maybe a staple for us with these pay-per-views: is was it worth the money? And I would have to say no. I don't think so.
Yeah.
You were lucky. You were able to not have to pay the money to watch it, but we did. And yeah, I can't say that was money well spent, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pay the $50 price tag, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah.
Just like
Make
uh,
them shorter, please.
make the card shorter and only have your most important matches on the card. You gotta develop a game plan where we're gonna use Dynamite and Collision to gear people towards these pay-per-views. You're not doing that. What you're doing is it's all blending together. The
Hmm.
Dynamite, Collision and the pay-per-views are all blending together because you're just overloading them with matches. If you were to figure out a way where you could make segments on Dynamite and Collision, no throwaway segments whatsoever on the show, no throwaway segments, everything has to matter, everything
Yeah.
has to mean something, and everything has to be geared towards a finality, a final end that we can blow things off on a pay-per-view. That needs to be the strategy going forward. And it's just everything is just it's just a mash. Again, it's a Thanksgiving
Yeah.
dinner plate of just matches and matches and matches. Like,
Ugh. It sounds like my mom's worst nightmare. Just like as her, she hates her food touching, so that sounds like she probably wants to skip this like 10 seconds of us talking about that. But yeah, it literally just kind of just and again, it's just a mixture of the show going on so late, nothing's really super grabbing your attention, blood, just blood. It's exhausting. It is sometimes exhausting to watch these pay-per-views where you're like, well, maybe this time it'll be different, but yeah, this was not one of those times, unfortunately.
No, this wasn't, unfortunately. Just a little bit to go off of. But again, this coming Wednesday, which would be today, the day the podcast drops, they're going to be starting the Continental Classic tournament, which has a lot of great entries in there. So that should be a lot of fun. Plus, we get to see what's going on with Swerve, who just coming back, and we're gonna see if the Elite is back together, if the Young Bucks have finally figured it out.
Yeah.
They don't know. They no longer need to be jerk offs. So
Please don't.
there is some stuff to kind of wait and see what's gonna happen with AEW, and you just kind of hope that they can figure it out, basically.
Yeah, that would be nice because again, it's just exhausting watching this sometimes. So please give us a reason not to be so tired.
Yes, definitely, definitely, for sure. Well, that takes us to the other side of the wrestling world. I hope you guys enjoyed our breakdown of AEW Full Gear. Remember, we do breakdowns of pay-per-views every week before they come out and afterwards. So make sure if you're a new listener to the podcast, you hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. But we're not done yet because this coming Saturday on ESPN app, the PLE Survivor Series is happening. And despite there only being 4 advertised matches, this is a pretty big event.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about it where it's like, is there going to be anything else? Because, I mean, granted, the matches themselves are pretty big, but it's also like, is it Petco Park in San Diego big? But I don't
It looks
know.
pretty big the way the setup is.
Yeah, which I mean, bigger's better with them, so I'm not really surprised. But I don't know. They'll probably throw another match or two in there when we aren't looking, but
Probably.
that's not our issue. We only have 4 to talk about.
Yeah, we only have 4 to talk about, so I'll be taking the reins over. And let's start it off with a match for the Women's World Championship. Former friends Stephanie Vicaire, the champion, and Nikki Bella will be going at it. I'm interested in this match. I'm a little worried because Stephanie Vicaire is a world-class wrestler. She can
Yeah.
wrestle. She's wrestled on many different countries, many different continents, wrestled all types of individuals. Nikki Bella, despite being a Hall of Famer and being a veteran, she in terms of style, expertise, she comes in a little lesser than Stephanie Vicaire. So I'm just worried that Stephanie is going to make Nikki look bad.
Dog walk her.
Maybe.
Just gonna pull a Mercedes Monet on her.
Maybe.
Just like dog walk her. Maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't say I'm like super duper excited for this match. I mean, of course, I'm happy to see Stephanie Russell. That's not a surprise, but we all know that I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan for several reasons, but I mean, it could be good. Like, you don't know for sure, but I mean, I feel like it's a very easy prediction, though. I don't think Stephanie's losing the title. I mean, clearly
Mm.
that seems to be the kiss of death from us, so maybe that's not a good idea. But I just, I mean, are these two going to have probably more than just this match? I would say so, but I just don't see Stephanie losing this title yet. Like that, she shouldn't. Let's rephrase this. She shouldn't lose the title this soon. So I feel like, hopefully, if there's a God, hopefully she keeps that title because that's a maybe I won't crash out as much if she would lose, but I'd be very shocked if they did. But yeah, I'm a little worried that this might be a little more one-sided than they want it to be, but that's what they live and die by. So oh well. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one to Stephanie.
Yeah, I too am also going to be giving this one to Stephanie. I'm just making note of our predictions because the predictions title is on the line. I am also giving this one to Stephanie because I feel like she's money for
Yeah.
the WWE. Nikki, if it was anybody else, like if it was somebody maybe not necessarily ready for that spotlight to be the poster child of the women's division, then I would say, okay, yeah, definitely you can give it to Nikki Bella. It wouldn't be a big deal. But
Yeah.
I honestly think Stephanie Vicaire can be your poster child for the women's division to say like, look at our women. Not only are they drop dead gorgeous, but they can really wrestle and really have some skill in there that a lot of the guys don't have. I see.
Yeah.
When you ask me what are my favorite things about WWE right now, it's things like Stephanie Vicaire, Io
Hmm.
Sky, and what the women are doing. That's what I'm actually enjoying a lot of. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a bad thing if Nikki Bella loses this match. I want it to be a decent wrestling match. No hiccups. Maybe show that they have a little bit of chemistry, and this could really show that Stephanie is a world class worker who can work with just about anybody.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one.
All right. So moving on, this one's for the Intercontinental Championship. The Grand Slam champion John Cena will be defending the title against the man that he took the title off of on Monday Night Raw, Dominic Mysterio. And this time they're in San Diego, so they're in Dominic's hometown. They're on his home
Hmm.
turf. So he thinks he has a leg up on everything that's going on because they're in San Diego. And honestly, I think we might see Dominic pull this one off with shenanigans.
Yeah, and shocker, I also agree with that one. I feel like just, I mean, Cena winning it in Boston was like the big feel good moment. It was one of the few bright spots on his retirement tour, but yeah, I feel like he's gonna probably return the favor in San Diego because we were kind of speculating. We're like, is this Intercontinental title gonna have anything to do with this like tournament? And I really hope it doesn't because you shouldn't have to. So I feel like if he gives it back to Dominic, then they can actually just focus on just the tournament itself and not, oh God, is this gonna be like, is whoever's gonna win this be the champion? Is he gonna
Mm-hmm.
like lose it on the way out? Is he going to keep it? Is he going to hold it hostage? Which we knew he wasn't going to, but it was just still yet to think about it. So, yeah, I feel like it was just kind of like a one last feel good moment out the door for him. So, yeah, I fully expect Dominic to get that title back in San Diego, and that crowd is going to lose its shit when he does.
Yeah, honestly, because Dominic Mysterio, despite him being a bad guy, he
Yeah.
still can garner a reaction from the crowd. Like I feel like it's not necessarily good guy, bad guy. They just like the fact that he's a young kid coming in with a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence, and he makes things interesting. They still boo
Yeah.
him. They still boo him because they still want to see him get punched in the face, but they're like, he's cool, you know?
Yeah. I still hate him, but yeah, he can hang.
He can hang. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him get punched in the face, but
Right.
he can hang. He can still go.
Yeah.
I think when it's all said and done, it's so crazy. He's not even close to his prime yet.
No,
That's the
just
scary thing.
wild.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. He's not even anywhere near his prime. So the sky's the limit for Dominic Mysterio. This is a feather in his cap, really, to be able to do this with John Cena. Having 2 matches with John Cena on this retirement tour is really, it says a lot about the faith that they have in Dominic Mysterio and what he's able to do in the ring.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just give him his title back. I wouldn't say never should have lost it. We know why he did, but give it back.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving on, we have our first War Games match, and it is for the ladies. I am really looking forward to this one. Rhea Ripley teams up with Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee to take on Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Becky Lynch. This is all-star. This is the creme de la creme. Even with Lash Legend in there, who's the one with the least amount of experience, she's been shining in these pull-apart brawls and making you go, whoa, look at Lash Legend. I think calling her up was a wise choice, and she's going to be a main event player in due time. But this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm fully expecting Io Sky to jump off the top of the cage with a garbage can around her head.
Of course.
She
better.
Yeah. And I want to see AJ Lee. This is only her second match back in over 10 years, and she's getting in there in War Games, which is something she's never done before. So I don't even think she's been into like steel cage matches or anything like that. So to put her in this scenario is going to be crazy. Again, you're not going to get blood and guts. You're not going to get blood or anything like that, but you're going to get a lot of brutality to make you think like, oh, this is really going to hurt. But again, I'm looking forward to this one. Who's going to win though? Who's going to win that? I want to hear your reasoning, because maybe you could sway my vote.
All right. Well, I feel like this is one of those matches where they kind of just threw several storylines together just for the sake of, well, we need this match to be a thing, so here we go. But I feel like it doesn't really matter because of the people involved. Like, you have such high profile names in here that it's like, who fucking cares that the storyline for it's not really like cohesive or makes a whole lot of sense. But who gives a shit? You got AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, Io, Rhea, Alexa, like, just, you can run down the entire like name list at that point, and even Lash Legend is just like, she's good in her own right. So I'm gonna be interested to see what she does, especially. But I feel like it's also tough though, because I've been seeing people say too, like, okay, well, when this match is over, then what? Like, what do you do after that? Yeah. So it's going to be a little interesting to see where they go. I mean, maybe they're going to do something with Becky and AJ, possibly. I don't really know what they're going to do with everybody else at this point, but I feel like you know what? I'm just going to go with the good guys. I think they'll find a way to pull through. I think a lot of people were nervous about Charlotte and Rhea, but obviously they kind of hashed that out a little bit, and I feel like maybe this is going to make them stronger as a team. And plus, you have Alexa, who she can shine no matter what, so I'm not really shocked that she's in here, obviously. Io's going to do whatever the fuck Io wants. She's pretty much the wild card, because I mean, she doesn't jump off with the top with the trash can, I'm going to be really mad, so she better do it. And then again, AJ Lee, I guess, is like the true wild card in the sense of you don't know what you're going to expect with her. Yeah. Because, I really don't remember off the top of my head her being in any of these style matches, like hell, even a steel cage. So how is she going to handle this? Is she going to be like the deciding factor? I think she might be, because I feel like in a way that, she doesn't, no one necessarily knows what she's going to do. That also goes the same for her opponents, where it's like, oh God, she's never been in one of these, so God knows what she's going to do. So that might give them the edge. But then again, you could say the same thing with Lash Legend. She's never really been in anything like this either, but she's also very fucking strong, and she can hold her own. So I feel like either one of those two may be the deciding factor for their team, but leaning more towards just giving it to the good guys, just for the sake of getting one up on the baddies, and then they get pissed, and then some shenanigans happen, in the weeks to come, I guess. But I'm just gonna give it to the good guy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and the only weakness is not really a weakness. It's
Yeah.
Lash Legend, but it's simply she's just not as experienced as everybody else. This is literally like an all-star of your best in your division, all in this match.
Yeah.
So I think when you have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee on one team, that's a pretty tough team to beat.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
just the names right there. It's just that's a pretty tough team to beat. So I am going to have to go with. I also am going to have to go with the good
Yeah.
guys. The good guys get the win. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee. I also think will be coming away with the victory in the women's War Games match. And like you said, it is a very interesting question of what do we do after? What happens
Hmm.
afterwards? Especially with Becky Lynch because she's doing a lot of manipulating. Just for this
Yeah.
match, she's doing a lot of manipulating. So what happens
Hmm.
when that's all said and done and now everybody's gunning for championship titles?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be rather interested, especially who ends up eating the pin, because that might have some repercussions
Very
going down the
true.
line.
Very true. That's that actually if we save if this last match coming up if we're both on the same page and we have to do some tie breaking predictions. I think I have mine in
Okay.
mind
Oh
already.
boy. All right.
All right. So for the next match is the men's War Games match. Same deal, just men instead of women. We got CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Jimmy and Jay Uso, and Roman Reigns taking on Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar, who hopefully will not fall down again, even though that was hilarious.
Fucking idiot. Jesus.
He's,
Uh,
oh man, I was just like, oh, I can't believe that happened, but it did.
ugh.
This one, I am looking forward to this one because as much as we're like, not this guy, you put Brock Lesnar in War Games in two rings with the steel cage. He's an animal. He's a beast. He's a
Yeah.
freak of nature. And so you put him in a cage like that, who knows what he's gonna do? If I was, Division and Paul Heyman and all that, I would have Brock Lesnar come out last on my team
Yeah.
because he's the one that's gonna be throwing around guys like nothing. You saw the way he was throwing around CM Punk and all the other guys. It's funny how they kind of left Logan Paul high and dry to get everybody's finisher on Monday Night Raw at the end of Monday Night Raw after the cameras went off the air. That was orchestrated by Brock Lesnar, who faked out a way to get into the ring because you thought they were going to be done coming to blows. They get in the ring and then Brock Lesnar pulls back with everybody else. Logan Paul didn't get the memo, so he gets smacked up by the good guys.
Nope.
Who is going to win this match?
I feel like it's so lopsided on experience
Mm,
because you look at the good guys and they have plenty of experience in these type of matches. Like, I mean, obviously Roman's been in there, Punk and Cody have been in there. And obviously Jay. So I feel like,
Bronson
um,
Reed too. He's been in there.
yeah, actually both of those, yeah, so pretty much everybody's been in this except for Lesnar and
Has Logan Paul been in?
no, and then I feel like
Braun
Braun might be
Breaker.
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not a lot of inexperience, but I feel like when you look at the good guys and you look at the bad guys, it's almost night and day, this team. So on paper, you would think, oh well, this is like a slam dunk for the good guys. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is no big deal. Except I don't think it's going to be that easy. I feel like it's one of those where it looks so one-sided, lopsided that that's not what they're going to do because I feel like it's going to be way too predictable. And I feel like The thing we kind of touched on earlier was the fact of, oh, there's only 4 matches, and you're making this a big ass deal in the middle of Petco Park in San Diego. So I don't really think if this ends up being the main event, because it probably will be, because we know how it goes, do you really think they're going to end it on, oh, well, yay, of course the good guys won, because why the fuck wouldn't they? That was really, really obvious. So I feel like the bad guys are going to win, but I feel like something big's got to happen to get there, because I don't think it's going to be like they win on their own accord. Perhaps there's some betrayal of some sort, maybe. Because we've been kind of talking over the last little bit here of like what's going on with Jay, and is this going to finally be the time where something snaps? So I'm wondering if like maybe he does something to cost the good guys the win. Maybe, I'm not going to guarantee that's going to happen, but I just feel like it's so obvious that the good guys should win that they're not going to, because again, they're not going to leave it on not even a sour note, the pay-per-view. It's just going to be like, oh, well, okay, well, that was cool, I guess. I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to have to do something big. And what better, like, shocking thing would it be than have the most inexperienced team win in, like, a shocker? But maybe in a shocking fashion with something else, who knows? But I'm going to go with the bad guys on this one.
She's going with Team Heyman. She's going with the Vision, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. Oh my God, I can't believe you're rooting for something that has Brock Lesnar on the team.
And Logan Paul, I really like.
Logan Paul. Jeez.
I hate it, but had to be done, unfortunately. Not necessarily happy if it happens, but for the sake of holding on to my title, I have to take some drastic measures.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Brock Lesnar's just a wild card to me. He's just a wild card to me because it's like you put him on a team and then there's no way they can lose with someone like Brock Lesnar on the team. He's just too big, too powerful, too strong. And then they also have the Vision and Drew McIntyre. Logan Paul just kind of is Logan Paul. He's there, but the other four are absolute powerhouses. So that's kind of what's glaring out to me. But then again, when you have CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns, that's like the Justice League,
Yeah. It's tough, especially when I have 4 matches. That's tough.
It's almost like a flip of the coin, you can't
literally.
You can't go wrong either way, but I am, for the sake of the predictions, I'm going to go with the good guys.
Oh, all right.
I'm going with the good guys. I'm feeling confident.
All right. So am I. I'm interested though. What would have been your tiebreaker, just for the listeners at home?
My tiebreaker would have been Lash Legend would have been taking the pin.
Ooh, that would have made sense too, because I couldn't see anybody else doing it. See, it was funny because I had a tiebreaker for that match too, except I said like her and Rhea were gonna have like a little bit of a moment. You have like 2 powerhouses, you have to have them interact in some way, shape, or form, and not just like we just looked at each other. It's like those 2 had to throw down on each other. So that would have been my tiebreaker. But we don't need it, guys. For once, we finally deviated one time.
I'm feeling confident in my pick.
Yeah, so am I. So we'll see.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our predictions for this Saturday's War Games PLE. It's happening on the ESPN app if you're in the United States. If you're outside of the United States, you can watch Survivor Series on Netflix. So make sure you tune in and watch the show. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it, as I am every time a PLE happens. So I am no doubt thinking that this one's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I will be following along on Twitter. So
Yeah, because you don't have access to the ESPN app, do you?
no, and I refuse to pay the extra $30 a
Yeah,
month.
that
Like,
$30
no.
is crazy.
Yeah.
30
So
bucks for 4 matches is nuts.
Yeah, no, it's like, no, thank you. I will just follow along on Twitter because they do a good job of keeping me up to date with everything. So,
And I will make sure to take excellent notes for the podcast. That way, you guys will not miss an action or a breakdown or an analysis of the show that is going on. Again, it's going to be a fun time. And there's also some fun you can have with us. Just to let you guys know that this also, along with the podcast, what I do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, including for Survivor Series, is do live watch alongs on Twitch. So if you want to watch along with me and watch the show, chat, talk wrestling, meet other wrestling fans, then that's the place to be every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m. Twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown. Ringside Rundown is also available all across the board on all podcast platforms. All you have to do is just search Ringside Rundown in the platform of your choosing, and then hit the follow or subscribe button. If you cannot find the Ringside Rundown on your platform, just let us know. We will get you a link to your platform on the silver platter, but the caveat is you have to give us back the silver platter because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's been in about 4 war games. She is not afraid of anything.
yeah, no, I wouldn't want to mess with her. Let's just put it that way.
She's dangerous.
And I deal with her on a daily basis, please.
She's dangerous. She's dangerous. She is not afraid to use a screwdriver.
Yeah, she's not afraid to use a fork. She's not afraid to use a screwdriver. She's not afraid to use a knife. She actually came up with that spot from the Fletcher and Mark Briscoe match where he like stuck the screwdriver through the turnbuckle, was gonna impale him on it. That was her idea, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Lady's a sicko.
Ugh, yeah, that's why she likes it so much. But so don't mess with her.
Yes, and you can also check out Ringside Rundown content all across the board on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ringside Rundown. We're on TikTok at Ringside_Rundown, and on YouTube. If you don't have a platform and we can't find you a link on your platform of choice, you can also listen to the show on YouTube, youtube.com/at Ringside Run Pod. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on my wrestling Twitter at Shay Ringside _. It's always like Eric's, except I took it and
she stole the homework.
I put my spin on it.
Yeah, she did. She did.
We're the meme of like, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just make sure it doesn't look like obvious. That's what I did.
There you go. So we'll be back next week, next Wednesday, which would be when this podcast episode drops, recapping Survivor Series, talking all about that and everything that was going on. So make sure you guys tune in and make sure you guys come and hang out on Twitch for the show. It'll be a lot of fun. I think we're done here.
Yeah, I think we did it.
We did the darn thing. So guys, check out the episode and let us know what you think. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez. Thank you for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
See you later, guys.